Test, test, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Good morning, everyone. Great to see you all here today. And Feliz Cinco de Mayo. And welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Grand Traverse. I'm Pam Hendrick, and I serve this community as a member of the Sunday Services Committee. And it's wonderful to have you all here with us in the sanctuary, and a warm welcome to those of you who are joining us streaming. Those of you here in the sanctuary, just a reminder to please silence your electronic devices so that won't be an embarrassing interruption. So if you've come here this morning to embrace the warm fellowship of like-minded community, or to ask questions, seek meaning, challenge the status quo, you are welcome to bring your whole selves to this congregation of a wide embrace. Do we have any visitors here today who would be comfortable standing up and introducing yourselves? Just a moment, so we're going to give you a mic, not because we don't trust that you can speak loud, but so that people who are watching us streaming can hear.
All right. My name is Shelley Bennett, and I am Mary Ann's stepdaughter, Gordon, her husband's daughter.
Wonderful. Welcome.
And I'm from the First Unitarian Universalist congregation of Ann Arbor.
Oh, good. Okay. Welcome. Anybody else? So we'll look forward to getting to know you better if you stay for coffee hour. And each week we take some time in our service to share our joys and concerns with the congregation. And so if you have something that you would really love to share, please, you can write it in the book over there, and Reverend Alex will read it later on in the service, so please write legibly. And you can light a candle at any time during the service if you have something that is weighing on you. I'm very excited about today's service. It's an important step in our journey forward as a congregation. Back on November 5th, 2022, the board and Reverend Alex met for a day-long retreat here at UUCGT. It kind of felt really good at that point to be meeting all in person because COVID was waning, somewhat anyway. And at the end of that very productive meeting, we all agreed that we needed a new mission and covenant that would come out of the collective vision for our congregation going forward. So we set out to establish a vision, mission, covenant task force, and the work began. And so now, some 18 months later, this kind of work takes time. Some 18 months later, members of that task force, along with Reverend Alex, are ready to present to the congregation for your approval the fruits of that labor, a new mission and covenant emanating from your input, from your vision. Now, enjoy our centering music.
Whoever you are and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here with us this morning. I'm Reverend Alex, the senior minister here at UUCGT. I use he and him pronouns. And here we are on this momentous and celebratory Sunday, a Sunday in which we can both unveil and try on our new vision, mission, covenant statements, VMC statements as a congregation. I think I speak for the VMC team when I say that this has been a long time coming. After nearly 2 years of work and many early morning meetings, they are so excited to be sharing these statements with you and giving you a chance to feel moved and inspired with this bright future for our congregation. And so as we settle into this time, into this service together, I invite you to hear these words by the Reverend Marnie Harmony. We whose journeys are always beginning, we whose mission always awaits us, we whose visions are bent on loving, we gather here today. We gather as a community drawn together out of a common need, each toting our own carpet bag of treasures and dreams. We gather together seeking meaning, yearning to understand life in all of its dimensions. As it challenges and expands, as it burdens, as it consoles and heals. We gather together with questions, the kinds of questions that provoke us to the path of action. We gather with hope, the kind of hope that pulses on through uncertainty. We gather with tenderness, the kind of tenderness that can only be born from knowing human capabilities as well as human imperfections. We gather wanting certainty and having none, but we are wakeful to possibilities as we seek discernment and gentle judgment. We gather then unbounded but close. We gather thirsting. We gather drawn to our source. And so come, let us worship together this morning.
In our service, we light the flaming chalice, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism and our shared faith. We light the chalice today with these new words of our mission statement, which you can find on the back of your order of service. And so I want to ask you to please join in saying this statement together as Reverend Alex lights our chalice. Grounded in love, we protect the web of life by building a beloved community, making good trouble, embodying radical love, and engaging in lifelong learning. And now we sound the singing bowl from the Buddhist tradition to enter a time of sacredness, mindfulness, and reverence together. And please now rise in body or in spirit as we join in singing our opening hymn, number 114 in your gray hymnals, Forward Through the Ages. Anne Marie and Barbara will lead us in singing.
Gifts in differing measure, realm of love and light. For it we must labor till our faith is sight. Prophets have proclaimed it, martyrs testified, poets sung its glory, heroes for it died. Forward through the ages, in unbroken line, move the faithful spirits at the call divine. Not alone we conquer, not alone we fall. In each loss or triumph, lose or triumph all. Bound by God's far purpose, in one loving whole, move we on together to the shining goal. Forward through the ages, in unbroken line, move the faithful spirits at the call divine.
The task force was charged by your board with creating formal statements of vision, mission, and covenant. Of those, we chose mission as an operative statement. We chose to focus on the future, on our relevance, on what this congregation wants to do going forward, and going forward with shared purpose. Then, to ensure our mission is true of us, anyone can write a mission statement. What would make it true of us? We came directly to you for your visions of a future you each imagine. We would make that a data set as basis for writing the mission. In so many ways, you spoke from the heart. Together, you created a body of literature from which we can draw inspiration and planning. We will share that body of literature with you in June at the annual meeting. In the meantime, we want to share a small selection of your vision statements today.
I am grocery shopping, and I overhear someone speaking to a new friend. Hey, so where do I go to get involved in climate justice, immigration justice, racial justice, housing justice, workers' rights, and voting rights? The friend answers, oh, you definitely have to check out UUCGT.
We share together. We're generous. We hold abundance over our fears of scarcity, of being or having enough. We engage with all of who we are, our minds, bodies, spirits, our hearts. We nurture that spark, that inward teacher that calls us toward one another and not too far away. Always. We know what we do matters and why we do it. Service is both our calling and our prayer.
I'm looking to book space for a meeting, and I can't, because there are so many fabulous things going on at UUCGT that I have to meet at the library. It feels like we're using our space not just to serve our own needs, but to support historically marginalized groups by offering them space as well.
The community at large has noticed and is now aware of what UUCGT is, what our guiding principles are, and how they have helped points of need in the Grand Traverse region. And we are doing so without a sense of pride, but of compassion, humility, and desire.
Homeschool program, immigration and refugee support team, political action group, sister congregations, community clothing exchange, food drive, Safe Harbor 2.0, elder housing support, reading buddy program, adopt a grandparent, youth group, natural material home building, new parent date night out squad, outdoor youth excursions, Soul Matters for Youth, Summer Justice Week, Church Coalition generating energy from solar panels on Center Road, Village of Hope for underemployed, in-house bookstore, theater, poetry, gourmet groups.
Annually, UUCGT defines our social justice focus for the year, and we coalesce it around it with tangible actions.
UUCGT is now grounded in the practice of radical welcome. Our diversity is welcoming to such a degree that it changes us.
Relationships are everything.
So last week, our congregation completed a week of service at Safe Harbor, and I think all who participated felt honored to be able to contribute to such a worthy cause. I know I did. You see, generosity gives back to our lives so much more than it takes. So as we pass our baskets here in the sanctuary and also ask for support for those of you streaming our service, know that you are helping to nourish many lives throughout the community. Now be aware that the baskets have two sides, one to sustain our congregation, this building, our wonderful staff, and one for those who are really in need in our community. And you can also send your contributions for UUCGT in several ways. You can mail a check to the congregation. You can visit the UUCGT website. You can use your phone by downloading the Vanco mobile app. You can arrange with your bank for an automatic contribution. Now, for our meditation music, Kim Grebe will perform the theme music from Schindler's List in honor of Holocaust Remembrance Day, or Yom HaShoah, which falls on the 27th day of Nisan in the Hebrew calendar, and this year that day is today. As we remember the suffering of those who perished and those who survived that horror, let us also now hold space for, especially for those in Gaza, and also those in Israel and the West Bank who have suffered and died and who continue to suffer and die today. May we say never forget until there comes a time when we can believe in never again.
Rooted in all of your visions, the VMC team is proud of our arrival at this new mission statement, the statement that we said together during our chalice lighting. There's a particular emphasis on our congregation's mission. We as Unitarian Universalists are not concerned with what a person individually believes. We welcome a great amount of theological diversity, and making sure each and every one of us has it exactly right isn't high on the priority list. Instead, Unitarian Universalists are doers. We are less concerned with what you believe and more concerned with what it is you're actually doing to make this world a better place. This is nicely said in that old UU adage that you might have heard, deeds, not creeds. A mission statement is a statement of doing. Rather than ethereal like our prophetic visions, mission asks us to consider what it is we're going to do to make things happen. That's why the VMC team felt it important that the accent be placed on mission above all other statements. Make no mistake, you need all of these for a community's health and vibrance, our visions, our covenant. For us, and we're also hoping for you though, the emphasis is really on these 4 short statements. Grounded in love, we protect the web of life by building beloved community, making good trouble, embodying radical love, and engaging in lifelong learning. Through reading and savoring your visions for UUCGT's future, we feel that these words best match the dreamings and aspirations of this church. Reviewing a total of 46 visions representing 57 different people, we even pulled out 460 line items, which we then sorted into 18 different categories that then became these 4 common themes. While this statement is in no way perfect, it emphasizes concrete verbs with each of these themes: building, making, embodying, and engaging. These are not passive phrases. These are phrases of doing. The Reverend Robert T. Latham, a UU minister, speaks to the importance of a church's mission. He writes, "The religious mission of the congregation must be clear and inspiringly stated. It must be elevated as the first priority of every agent of the congregation's ministry. It must invoke commitment to a commonly held nobility that transcends personal or small group agenda. Without mission, the congregation may fragment into a multiplicity of self-focused groups competing for the congregation's attention and resources." As Pam mentioned to you in her welcome, when the board met those 18 months ago, we imagined a UUCGT united in a shared sense of mission, a shared sense of purpose. We imagined a community known by a sense of serving something larger than ourselves. And while the words of this mission might be new to you today, I think you'll find that UUCGT has already been living into them by its actions to date. To demonstrate this, let's hear some expansions on each of these 4 categories. Beloved community. We create beloved community within our congregation and the beloved community of Dr. King's vision in the world. We make our community and this world a better place with deepening connections and thoughtful actions. We aspire for a collective liberation, a world with peace, liberty, and justice for all. Since my arrival as your minister, you've made it clear to me just how much beloved community means to you. The ways that our groups gather, be it Soul Matters groups, the vocal ensemble, those Wednesday night potlucks, also my very own community coffee hours. You should stop by sometime if you haven't yet. They're a lot of fun. These are all glimpses of beloved community that are beckoning us to make this love real in the world. Now to good trouble. We make good trouble, amen? Amen. We are not afraid to challenge the status quo and to pursue social justice and liberation for all. We are not passive observers. We are agents of change that pursue the wildest possibilities for a better future. We affirm our commitments to an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, and multicultural society. Now, you might have noticed this by now, but UUCGT has a bit of a rebel streak. It's something that I've loved about you ever since I found out about this congregation. Not only were you the first and only congregation to install a rabbi as your spiritual leader, UUers have always been good troublemakers, especially with environmental causes and issues of inclusion. In the 80s and 90s, UUCGT was on the forefront of advocating for the inclusion and acceptance of LGBTQ+ people in Traverse City and our wider area. You all were the radical community in the 80s that invited someone in a Sunday service to share about their experience growing up as gay in northern Michigan, which I am certain no other congregation was either willing or able to do at that time. Someone who would eventually become one of your ministers. Today, UUCGT is active and involved in lots of good trouble, be it between the work of our Social Justice Action Team, our participation in the Spiritual Activists Leading Together Coalition. That's a big jumble of words, but we've distilled it down nicely into SALT, S-A-L-T. A collaborative of justice seekers across many congregations in our area wanting to really harness faith's power toward radical change, not to mention all of the different ways that we cause good trouble in all of our own lives. Also, without sharing an official tally on the resolution vote on the upcoming election and becoming a good trouble congregation, it seems that our minds actually might already be there. Now to radical love. We embody radical love. We challenge ourselves to break down barriers that separate us. As a congregation, we push ourselves to widen our welcome to those at the margins. We are people of all sexualities, genders, cultures, backgrounds, and beliefs. We believe in gentle compassion and abundant grace. We are ambassadors of love to one another and to our wider world. The first time I walked through the doors of this place, it felt like the love was written all over the walls. It took me back to the 3rd grade walking into my grandma's UU church for the first time. Those of you that remember that story, very significant moment for me. You see, UUers don't just profess and preach radical love, we embody it. We do it. To this day, I struggle to find another church or community that strives to love as fully as we do. It's for this same reason that we show up at Pride each year and hold numerous programs on the spiritual practice of radical welcome. It's why we continue to value services that push the boundaries of our minds and hearts, encouraging us to see things from another's shoes, to find love even for our neighbors who are quite different from ourselves. That's radical love. Lastly, lifelong learning. We accompany one another on this lifelong journey of faith and discovery. We value learning for children, youth, and adults. We are open to continuous revelation and the teachings of science and spirit. Our community is a brave space to discover what you think and believe, no matter where you find yourself on life's journey, or what you believe about God or the greater mystery. The primary reason of our founding up in these northern woods was to provide opportunities for learning for children, youth, and families. Our co-founding mothers, Mary Ann Force and Janice Park, dreamed of this community for their children. Next Sunday is actually UUCGT's 60th anniversary and its actual birthday to date, founded May 12th, 1964. So you'll hear more on this history next Sunday, and rumor has it we may even have a little bit of cake to celebrate. What's a birthday without some cake? And so today, with our growing religious education program and our steady attendance of kids, we continue to live into this dream, knowing just how important these opportunities for growing and learning are for our children, but also for all ages. Book groups, workshops, seminars, and even sex ed classes. You name it, we do it. We are lifelong learners. To close, when you read this mission, I invite you to see yourself in it. Imagine what's possible for us in uniting our congregation beyond a meeting space for different projects, teams, and groups into a community with one shared mission. Imagine a strategic plan from our board and leaders giving us a clear sense of how it is that we'll get there in living into this lofty mission. Imagine a budget where each line item supports us in building beloved community, making good trouble, embodying radical love, and engaging in lifelong learning. How cool would that be to have a budget that just aligned with each of these values? Imagine how cool it would be for those in the wider community to read these very words on our shirts, knowing what it is that we're all about. Amen. It's our practice each week to hold a space for the joys and concerns that are on our minds and hearts, those milestones and moments of our shared journey that we feel are really important to hold as we are together. I'll be sharing a few of those that have been offered up for us to hold. You're always invited to light a candle at any point in our service, to either approach myself or a member of our congregational care team, or to simply just hold it on your heart as you are held in the love that abides here. None of us is meant to ever do life's journey alone. And as our congregational tree hopefully reminds you, love is at our center. So please join me, if you would, in a spirit of holding these shared joys and concerns. We take some space in our service to hold Marty Litherland on our hearts, a member of our VMC team who is recovering from a fall and couldn't be here with us this morning. Marty, we know you're tuning in today. We're grateful for you and hoping for you a swift recovery and healing. Additionally, we hold gratitude for Catherine Van Nostrand, also on our VMC team, who couldn't be here with us today, but is no less appreciated for all of her energy and contributions to our team and to this community. From Rick and Chris Walter, are we ever blessed in our area with outstanding arts and activities? Rick and I attended the historical multidisciplinary opera, Edmonia, at Interlochen last night. Oh, those talented students, composer Dr. Bill Banfield, instructors, and more. One more performance this afternoon at 3 p.m. Oh, is it 2 p.m.? I'm hearing some crowdsource. It's 2 p.m. Okay, got it. Edmonia Lewis, African-American and Ojibwe, was a phenomenal sculptress in the late 1800s, early 1900s. So you don't want to miss that. And thank you, Chris, for lifting that up for us. So 2 p.m. today. From Max Oldbear. Cherry blossoms on the peninsula in full bloom. So are the dandelions. The bee boxes are busy. The vines are pruned. It's too bad we couldn't meet outside today, huh? From Doug and Margaret Wozniak. Grandson Lewis has had his braces removed, and now, for the first time in 3 years, he smiles when having his picture taken. What a joy. And from Chris Louts. Wishing Teresa Spihar a speedy and uneventful healing. We hold you, David, and Teresa on our hearts as Teresa recovers. And now let's hold a space for the joys and concerns that remain on our hearts.
Good morning. I'm here to talk about our new covenant. UUs do not share beliefs, we share values. We aspire to live our values, not believe a list of doctrines. Thus, we do not have commandments or sins. What we have is covenant. A covenant is like a contract, only enforcement is not by court or by threat, such as retribution by punishment or by ending up in hell. Covenant harkens back to the Puritan practice that we continue today as we sign our name in the book when we join the congregation. We sign the membership book in this lineage, but we are not beholden to specific beliefs or creeds. We covenant, which is a solemn relational agreement that allows for failure and includes a process for coming back into covenant when we falter. It is an agreement to do our best. A covenant is an offering, and it is also a request. It says, I want to remain in connection, but if I harm our connection, please help me return. It says, I aspire to do this thing of being connected, but I expect I will fail in small or large ways. Please help me comply. That is why I'm here. I want to grow in my ability to be in connection. It is a very evolved concept. A covenant is how we be together, independent of what we do together. There are spiritual, religious, psychological, and communication frameworks we could choose to undergird our covenant. This team has investigated many of those. We have reviewed Bowen theory, compassionate communication, nonviolent communication, and healthy congregation models in other congregations. What we as a team have agreed on is something that all of these frameworks would support. In simple terms, what we propose is a few lines that highlight what is meant to be an adult, mature relationship with each other. What we propose is very revolutionary. It's countercultural, and it's very demanding. We are essentially asking all of us to commit to evolve into adult relationship where we take agency ourselves, and we ask others to take agency themselves to come to the table and be authentic, individuated, grounded, mature beings. This is an impossible ask. But we hold the aspiration to welcome being held accountable to our aspirations. Given this tough job of defining how we do this very hard thing of being in lasting relationship with each other, this is what the VMC proposes. In our growing community, I promise to be responsible for my spiritual wholeness, integrity, and well-being. Support you in pursuing your spiritual wholeness, integrity, and well-being. Courageously and lovingly stay present through the joy and conflict and welcome others in this pursuit. Put my person, time, talent, and treasure into this work in our community and beyond. This is short, but it's still too long. It's too long to memorize or repeat without help, so what we've done is we reduce this very dense concept even further to the following. I'm accountable for me. You're accountable for you. In community, we hold each other through joy and conflict. We openly welcome others as we respond to the needs of the world. This short form is something we hope we can adopt as our official covenant and all be able to repeat, explain, and defend. The longer form will hopefully help in this defending because we will get pushback. What, you say? I am supposed to know what I think and feel and then talk about that with you? If I feel slighted, overworked, ignored, put down, unheard, unliked, discriminated against, sad or depressed, you expect me to be able to know what I feel and what I want and be able to be accountable for that and to tell you about that so that we can hold each other through love and conflict, through joy and conflict? You mean I can't talk to my friend about how you hurt me and get relief by venting with others so I don't have to address you directly? You mean I can't just pick up and leave without explanation, without breaking my promise? You mean I can't just ignore you, avoid you, look the other way, expect you to read my mind, and apologize for an imagined slight? Yep. That is what we are proposing. Now, before we all recoil, let me add that we acknowledge that this is insanely hard. That is why we have small groups that help us learn deep listening to ourselves and to others. That is why we have a care team and a healthy congregations team. That is why we have a group our minister and congregants can bring hard stuff to. That's the Committee on Ministry. If something feels impossible and even threatens our belonging to this congregation, we want to provide individuals and groups that will support each of us as we grow deep. Those who have signed up to lead in our congregation, whether committees or groups or individuals, need to know that we have their backs in this effort. That is why we have trainings for how to deeply listen. Right now, these trainings are our Soul Matters, Transforming Hearts, and Starting Point groups. The skills learned to listen to ourselves and to each other in these groups are flowing over to committees, to social events, and to other action groups. As the VMC turns its work over to the board and the congregation, we recognize the formation of our UUCGT tripod. This tripod includes, number one, the board, number two, the Committee on Ministry, and number three, the minister and the staff. Our tripod will be working together to further the development of cooperation between the three legs of this congregation stool that will strive to hold the congregation stable and strong. We are also discussing healthy congregation concepts and working on developing learning spaces for discussions of the covenant. You'll be hearing more about these efforts in coming months. In the meantime, we ask you to try on the covenant. It is our intent to print the short version in our official materials, like on the back of the order of service. And the longer version is available to assist in understanding and explaining it to other people. We welcome your thoughts, and we look forward to the evolving challenge of being together. It is our profound aspiration that we learn from each other as we grow in love and grace. May it be so. I've been asked to lead a short moment of silence.
Would you please stand in body or in spirit and join me in singing hymn number 34, Though I May Speak with Bravest Fire.
sounding brass and hopeless grain, though I may give all I possess and striving so my love profess, but not be given my love within. The prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, our hearts control. Our spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are free.
Chalice flame this morning and ask that its light go forth to accompany us on our path forward, to illuminate our vision, guide our mission, and give life to our covenant.
So I just have a couple of very quick announcements to make, and then we'll send you on your way this Sunday. If you haven't seen enough announcements about this already, it is the last day to vote on that special resolution to engage in the upcoming election with our congregation, as well as to become a Good Trouble congregation. So it's not too late if you'd like to have your vote counted. You can either submit that online in the form that went out with the flash, or you can also, I believe, visit the Social Justice Action Table today, and they have some paper ballots available if you want to go old school like that. Nothing wrong with that. And so make sure if you're interested in doing that, if you haven't registered your vote and you're a member of the congregation, we would love your participation in this. And lastly, just to note that this mission and covenant statement that we were able to have you kind of try on today, we'll be opening up a space at the annual meeting. The board will be presenting this for a vote at the annual meeting. And so we will open that up there to hopefully just kind of as a community engage this and make a decision if this is reflective of all that good work that our team has done. So with those two announcements, I would invite you now to rise as you're willing and to either join hands or to outstretch your hands in that symbol of interconnection. That means please do not touch me. Those of you online are also welcome to outstretch your hands either to the screen or at your sides. And in the spirit of covenant, community, and commitment, in the spirit of all of our visions and our renewed mission and covenant, may we be made ready to serve one another and to create the world we so desperately dream of. Go in peace, pass an air five or a squeeze, and enjoy your Sunday.